Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Porchlight Letters podcast number 2198. And tonight's one is called The Love That Lingers. It is episode 5 of The Grief, volume 15, The Shape of Grief. We have one more episode to do, which will be tomorrow. But tonight we are talking about the love that lingers. I'm pretty sure, yeah. Okay, I've misstated my note. I think it's because I've lost myself. Sorry. In my notes, I've got down that this is Friday's topic when it's not, because we actually started it. Don't worry about me. Don't mind me. So grief is the echo of love that had nowhere else to go. Grief is the echo of love that had nowhere else to go. It lingers not to hurt, but to remind us something beautiful once existed here. And in many ways, it still does. And I have a couple of stories to share with you tonight about love lingering. And as you all know, Zeffie passed on the 27th of July, which was 11 days ago? 11 days? Yeah, about 11 days ago. And almost on a daily basis, I am hearing her in some way or feeling her in some way. And so last night, I forgot to bring it in here. I have a lamp that stands about this tall. It's of an angel. It's all clear. The head and the arm pieces is like cloudy, and then the body is clear. And inside the body, there's this liquid, and inside the liquid, there's all this glitter. And what happens is that when you turn it on is that this light comes up from the bottom, and there's like a little fan down there or something, because it blows the glitter around the inside of the body of the angel, and it changes color as it goes. So it goes from blues to greens to pinks to purples to clear. And it's really, really cool. And I always turn it on at night. So it's almost like the first thing I do when I've been, except when I was walking Zeffie. When I walked Zeffie after the podcast, well, it depends which time of year as well. Zeffie would get walked before the podcast. If we were in the winter months and the summer months, she gets walked after the podcast. So it would be dependent on the time of the day, whether I was heading into the family room or heading out for a walk. So if I was heading into the family room, then I would leave the office and go into the family room and put my stuff down on the end table in there, like my water jug, my phone, my glasses. I pick them up on the way. Otherwise, I'm blind as a bat and can't see the TV. And then once I've done that, I go over, I close the blinds. And then the last thing I do before I go and sit down or go into the kitchen to get dinner is I turn this angel on, and you have to pick it up. And there's a switch on the bottom. Turn the angel on and sit there and put it back on the table, and it sits next to the TV. And the light goes on and the little glitter starts flitting around and it's changing colors and all that. There's pictures of it on my Facebook page if you want to see it. And so last night when I left here, did what I normally do, turn off the lights, shut down the computer. Well, I didn't shut down the computer. I put it on to logged out of the computer, turned the lights off, opened the curtains behind me, grabbed my water thing, my phone, and walked out. And I had a couple of notebooks with me too, because I was going to do some work while I was out there. So I had, my hands and arms were full of the stuff that I was going to do last night. And I walked out, and I'm walking into the kit, and there's a big great room out here that's kind of like a formal dining, formal living area. It's junk right now. It's my sorting area right now. And I walked from there into the kitchen, and as I was walking across, I suddenly stopped, and it was like I wasn't even into the kitchen. I was heading in that direction, because there's the kitchen, the dining area, and then the family room, because the lamp was on. The angel was lit and was doing her thing. And I'm like, I did not turn that on. I know that with grief, there comes times when you have gaps and might have some memory loss and all that. With that, it's called a widow's brain, especially after a spouse has passed. And I'm like, okay, I know I'm suffering from that a little bit, because some of that's come back. But I haven't lost it that much that I did not recall walking into the thing and turning this thing on. And I'm like, somebody's got to have turned this on because I did not turn it on. I know for a fact I didn't turn it on. I didn't even go into the family room that night. Did I go in there and and close the blinds? No, I walked in that morning to open the blinds. I hadn't closed the blinds at that point. So I hadn't even stepped foot in the family room for the whole entire day, except for that part in the morning to open the blinds. And the blinds were open. So I was going to go put the stuff down and go close them. And the lamp's on. And I'm like, no. And I'm like, and I wasn't scared. I wasn't freaking out about it or anything else. I was trying to think, who turned my lamp on? And I know it must have been an angel or somebody who has passed that turned it on to say, hey, we're here, just to remind me of their presence, for which I was extremely grateful, of love and gratitude for that message. But I had to think, because 2 weeks prior to Zeffie passing, her and I walked out of here one night to go into the kitchen to get ready to go for a walk, and the lamp was on. And what was really weird is that Zeffie walked over to it and started sniffing at it. And then she was like looking all around. She felt there was some presence in the room that she felt and acknowledged, and she knew that this lamp was on, and she didn't even look at me because she's looking around the room. I don't know if there was a bunch of angels standing there or something, if there was like a group of angels. What do you call a group of angels? I don't know. If there were angels standing there, if there were loved ones standing there who had passed, and she was feeling their presence and looking around at their faces and stuff, and one of them had turned it on. I don't know. But this lamp had somehow turned itself on, and I was just full of love and gratitude for a reminder that our loved ones and our angels are always with us and always will be. And there's no reason to feel scared about the fact that a light might turn itself on. So that was last night's experience. Today, we keep talking about the different signs of Zeffie being around the house, and she's definitely in the house with me. I was sitting here working, and I heard this little squeak. Now, this little squeak is a very specific little squeak. It's when she jumps up onto the recliner, and she does this little circle thing before she sits down. And then, what she used to do is she'd jump up on the thing, circle around, and then plop herself down. Now, if she puts her head on the armrest, she would do it with a sigh. If she wasn't putting her head on the armrest and just curling up, she wouldn't do anything. So I heard the squeak. I looked at the recliner, and I'm just looking at it. And then the next thing I hear is, which meant that she was laying in the recliner with her head up on the armrest, keeping a watch over me. So yes, our loved ones, they linger. They stay with us. They do some people are more sensitive to it than others, but they do send us signs that they are with us, that they are watching over us, that they still love us. It's been a while since I've heard from Brad, but maybe he was the one that put the lamp on a couple of weeks ago. I don't know. But it's been a while since I've heard from him. He usually comes to me in dreams. Yeah, he usually comes to me in dreams. But anyway, so talking about grief, what it teaches is that grief and love are side by side. One doesn't erase the other. They hold hands. The ache you feel is proof of the bond you shared. Love lingers in ordinary moments, a sound, a scent, a memory. You don't stop loving just because they're gone. Your heart just learns to carry it differently. And when that happens, you feel their presence even in their absence. The things they loved become little touchstones of comfort. You can catch yourself smiling at a memory that once broke you. And yes, they say that time heals and that time eases grief. Grief is one of those sneaky little buggers that just comes up behind you and knocks you senseless out of in the middle of nowhere. It will, and there'll be times that you will just have a memory that comes in, and it used to be one that every time you thought of it, it would bring you tears, but they would be tears of joy and tears of love. I always call them my sparkles. The sparkles overfloweth. But there is a time that will come where you catch yourself smiling at memories that once broke you, ones that made you cry, that made you break down into tears. Eventually the time will come, and it's different for everyone. Everybody grieves in their own way. There is no right or wrong way to grieve. Everybody has it in their own way. And you catch yourself smiling at a memory that once broke you. You live your life in a way that continues their story. You're always carrying them with you. The impact they have had on your life is still there. It doesn't get erased. The memories don't get erased. And that reminds me of, so after Brad had passed, of course, there's a whole bunch of stuff you have to do when a loved one passes, and phone calls you have to make, and notifications that have to be sent out, and all of that sort of stuff, and everything else. And at one point, I turned to my older stepson and I said to him, with all of these bits that I'm doing, I feel like I'm erasing Brad's life. And he looks at me and he goes, "You'll always have the memories," which is true. You will always have the memories and the love, because the love doesn't die. It's there. It might change a little bit, but it is always there. And how we carry forward with all of that is we speak their name without fear. It keeps the love alive. Let your grief remind you how deeply you loved. Notice how they still influence your choices, your kindness, your courage. Absolutely, totally, and utterly agree with that. Every time I come up with an idea, I'm like, I wonder what Brad would think of that idea. And I used to talk to Zeffie about stuff that comes up, and I go, "Oh, look at this. Da, 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 da. What do you think of that?" And she just looks at me and just stares at me, and she'll either close her eyes and go back to sleep, or get up, move herself around so she doesn't have to talk to me or look at me. I don't know. But anyway, but they still influence our choices. They have left an imprint on our lives, and we can't ignore that imprint. They left a beautiful imprint behind with their footsteps, and they will always, always be there. We honor the love by giving it new places to grow. And our legacy, their legacy isn't only what they left behind. It lives in your everyday acts of remembrance, resilience, and love. What lingers is never lost. It just finds new ways to show up. And it's simple as a song that you hear that you may not have heard for a while. Suddenly you smell that scent that they used to, and that the only time, and this is one sign I've told Brad about, the only time that I have smelled Brad's cologne, which on him was just absolutely amazing, was when I found the bottles of cologne that I still have of his, and I happened to open one, and that just, I was gone. I was a mess. And I think I've done it once, and I've done it once more since then. Again, same reaction. But I have never, ever smelt that cologne on anybody else, or any time that I'm out walking around or anything. Never. The only times I've smelled is if I take the cap off the bottle and just spray a little bit. Then I smell it. So yeah, but they will find new ways to show up. I've seen Brad and Gus in dreams, to the point where one dream I was hugging Gus, and when I woke up, and I had my face buried in his fur, and when I woke up, I could still feel his fur on my face. There was one dream where I'm not going to go there. That was just a really super weird one. But I will tell you this, in the dream I got kissed, and it was definitely Brad's kiss. So it was, because I woke up and his lips were still on my lips, and I could feel him still there. And but how it got to that point is just really weird. It's still, yeah, it just, yeah, I'm not going there with that one. But write these things down in journals. Take your porch light reflection journal, and on the porch light notes page, write down these memories. Write down the interactions that you have. If you suddenly smell their cologne, or you hear their favorite song that you haven't heard in ages, or something flashes by you and you see it, and that sort of thing. Like, I've lost count of the number of times I've seen somebody walking past in my peripheral vision, and I think it's somebody walking outside, and I turn, because if I see somebody walking outside, and sometimes there is somebody walking outside and I see them, other times I catch the movement in my peripheral vision of somebody walking outside, and I go to look and there's nobody there. Write down those encounters with them. Write them down. Keep track of them. Write down how it makes you feel. And your porch light reflection journal on the porch light notes. It's a good place to put that. Update on these too. Since we're on the porch light reflection journal, you can get this copy by going to this link, scanning this QR code. This is the first one. We have volumes 1 through 6 have been uploaded to Amazon. We are just waiting approval. I'm only allowed to upload 3 a day. Apparently there's a limit on the number of journals you can upload. So you're only allowed to upload 3 a day. So I've got I did 3 yesterday. I've done 3 today. So the first 6 are uploaded. We're just waiting for them to be approved, and they can take up to 72 hours to be approved. And then I read that it can take, and once it's been approved, it can take up to 10 business days for them to go live on Amazon. I'm like, what? They have definitely changed since this was uploaded, because this one was approved within 72 hours and it was live the next day. Now they're saying it takes on journals, it takes up to 10 business days for them to show up. I guess they're getting flooded with journals or something. I don't know. But we will have them available for you sooner. This weekend, I've got some time set aside to sit down and get them up on Etsy, get them up on, we're going to have create a website that you can go to and order them from as well. So we're going to work hard this weekend to get those 2 things live so we don't have to wait for them to go on Amazon. So speaking of the journal, here are your reflection questions for today. In what small ways does their love still show up in your daily life? Number 2, how has your understanding of love shifted through grief? Number 3, what are some things you do that keep their memory close? And number 4, what does it mean to you to let love linger? And our closing thought for this evening is, love that lingers isn't a ghost, it's a guide, a gentle reminder that you are loved deeply, you were loved deeply, you were loved in return, and you still are. And with that, we are out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hei konara.